Hard times have a unique way of stripping away the superficial layers that often cloak people's true selves. When everything is smooth, easy, and going according to plan, it's natural for most people to put their best face forward. They smile, they encourage, and they stand beside you in moments of celebration. But the real test of character, loyalty, and authenticity doesn't come when the sun is shining. It comes when the storm hits, when the world around you seems to be collapsing, and when you are forced to confront challenges that test every ounce of your strength. It is in these moments of difficulty, pain, and uncertainty that the people in your life reveal who they truly are. When life gets tough, you begin to notice subtle shifts in the behavior of those around you. Some who once seemed like your closest allies suddenly disappear, choosing distance over discomfort. Others might stay physically present but emotionally absent, their support shallow and fleeting. There are those who use your hardship as an opportunity to criticize, undermine, or diminish your worth. Hard times don't just test your resilience, they expose the true nature of the relationships you have cultivated over the years. This revelation happens because difficulty demands authenticity. You no longer have the energy or the luxury to maintain facades, and neither do those around you. In easy times, it's simple to pretend, to offer hollow words of encouragement, or to engage in polite social rituals. But in the face of real adversity, when emotions run high and stakes are raised, pretense falls away. The people who genuinely care show up with empathy, patience, and unwavering support. The ones who don't reveal themselves through absence, criticism, or even sabotage. Hard times reveal the invisible boundaries people have set in your relationship with them. Some may genuinely want to help, but lack the capacity or courage to stand by you in your lowest moments. Others will exploit your vulnerability for their own gain or out of a misguided sense of control. This is when you realize that not everyone who says they want the best for you truly means it. You see the difference between those who are allies in your journey and those who are obstacles disguised as friends or family. More often than not, hardship also brought envy and jealousy in people who see your struggles as an opportunity to elevate themselves or to keep you stuck. They might offer advice that is really a form of control, or they might consistently point out your failures and weaknesses instead of encouraging growth. Hard times magnify these traits because when you are vulnerable, toxic tendencies become more visible. The mask slips, and you no longer have to wonder about the authenticity of the people who surround you. The harsh reality is that some people's true selves are demons in disguise, hiding behind smiles and, wishes. They thrive on your uncertainty and hesitation because it feeds their own sense of power and importance. They might be family members, friends, or acquaintances who, when faced with your adversity, react with criticism instead of compassion, with jealousy instead of support, and with manipulation instead of honesty. Hard times force you to see these dynamics clearly. Whether you want to or not, your reaction to these revelations is just as important as the revelations themselves. Hard times don't just expose others. They challenge you to confront your own boundaries and values. You begin to understand that self-respect means sometimes walking away from people who drain you. You learn that courage isn't just about facing external challenges, but also about making tough decisions regarding who you allow into your inner circle. Hard times compel you to reevaluate your relationships and question long-held assumptions about loyalty and love. Furthermore, hard times test the authenticity of your own character. They reveal how you respond to the people who show their true selves. Do you allow bitterness to consume you? Do you hold on to grudges, or do you use the experience to grow stronger and wiser? The crucible of adversity is as much about self-discovery as it is about discovering others. It forces you to clarify what kind of person you want to be, regardless of how others behave. In many ways, hard times act like a mirror, reflecting back the truth that was always there, but hidden beneath the surface of everyday life. They illuminate the real intentions and values of those around you and compel you to make choices about who deserves a place in your life going forward. The discomfort and pain of these moments are the price you pay for clarity, for an unfiltered view of your social landscape. As you navigate through hard times, it becomes increasingly clear that you can't afford to surround yourself with people who add to your struggle. Genuine support is rare and precious, and it stands out like a beacon in dark times. Those who stay by your side with kindness, encouragement, and honesty become your true allies, your chosen family, and your source of strength. The hard times are not just obstacles to overcome. They are opportunities to see the world and the people in it for what they really are. This unmasking process can be painful, jarring, and disorienting, especially when it involves people you thought you could trust. But it is also liberating because it frees you from illusions and false attachments. Hard times challenge you to grow not only in resilience, but in discernment, helping you build a circle that lifts you higher rather than pulling you down. This clarity, born from struggle, becomes a foundation for deeper, more authentic connections in the future. Not everyone in your circle wants to see you win. This is a hard truth many of us avoid facing because it challenges the very foundation of trust and connection we build with those closest to us. We assume that friends, family, and those we consider allies are rooting for our success, celebrating our victories, and supporting us through setbacks. But the reality is far more complicated. Some people thrive on your struggles. They feed off your difficulties and uncertainty in ways that are subtle yet deeply damaging. Recognizing this dynamic is crucial for your growth and for protecting your energy during challenging times. When you are progressing, growing, and pushing toward your goals, your energy shifts. Success demands confidence, clarity, and forward momentum. It requires you to shed old patterns and sometimes break free from toxic influences. For some in your circle, this change is threatening. Your victories highlight their stagnation or their own struggles. Instead of feeling inspired by your growth, they feel diminished. Their reactions may not be overtly hostile. Instead, they may come cloaked in jealousy, passive aggression, or undermining behaviors masked as concern or advice. People who thrive on your struggles often do so because of their own unresolved pain and insecurities. They find comfort in your difficulties because it levels the playing field, making them feel less alone in their hardships. When you struggle, they don't have to face their own failures or shortcomings as starkly. Your setbacks become a distraction from their own internal battles. In this way, your struggle becomes their strange source of validation. They can say, at least I'm not as bad off as you, or I'm doing better because you're falling behind. This dynamic is especially painful when it comes from those who are supposed to love and support you unconditionally, such as family members or close friends. These are the people who should be your biggest cheerleaders, but sometimes become the loudest critics. They might question your decisions, dismiss your dreams, or remind you of past failures in moments when you need encouragement the most. Their words and actions chip away at your confidence, planting seeds of doubt that slow your progress and make you question your worthiness. One of the reasons this happens is because your success forces others to confront uncomfortable truths about themselves. When you win, it highlights what they have not yet achieved or what they have lost. Instead of celebrating your progress, they might react with resentment or skepticism. They might offer helpful criticism that is really a way to control or contain you, keeping you from moving too far ahead. In their minds, your struggle keeps you within reach, easier to influence or manipulate. These people often don't want to see you rise above the circumstances that bind them. They may actively or passively try to sabotage your efforts, whether by spreading negativity, discouraging you, or withdrawing their support. Sometimes this behavior is unconscious, driven by fear or jealousy. Other times, it's more calculated, a way to maintain the status quo where they feel safe. Regardless of the intent, the effect is the same. Your energy is drained, your motivation is tested, and your progress is hindered. Recognizing these dynamics is a crucial step in protecting yourself. When you understand that not everyone is rooting for you, you gain clarity about who deserves your time, trust, and energy. It becomes easier to set boundaries with those who drain you and to invest more deeply in relationships that fuel your growth. You learn that winning isn't just about external achievements. It's about cultivating an environment where your mind and spirit can thrive. It's also important to remember that thriving on someone else's struggle is often a sign of pain, not power. Those who do this are usually battling their own demons, trapped in cycles of insecurity and fear. This awareness doesn't excuse toxic behavior, but it helps you approach these relationships with compassion and wisdom. You can protect yourself without burning bridges unnecessarily with you. And you can choose to rise above the negativity without letting it consume you. Ultimately, the people who truly want to see you win are those who celebrate your victories with genuine joy, who lift you up when you fall and who challenge you to be your best self without holding you back. These are the allies who make your journey worth taking. But hard times and struggles will inevitably reveal who in your circle falls into the category of thriving on your struggles and who is there to walk with you through the highs and lows. Understanding this truth is empowering because it frees you from illusions and false expectations. It encourages you to surround yourself with those who build you up and to distance yourself from those who pull you down. Winning isn't just about success, it's about survival growth. And the courage to protect your vision and your peace no matter what. Demons don't always wear masks of hatred. They often disguise themselves as friends or family. This truth is one of the hardest to accept because it challenges the very foundation of trust and love that we place in those closest to us. We expect our friends and family to be sources of support, encouragement, and unconditional care. Yet sometimes the most damaging forces in our lives come not from strangers or enemies, but from those who claim to love us. These demons aren't mythical creatures. They are real people whose actions, whether intentional or unconscious, cause pain, hold us back and sabotage our well-being. The reason these toxic individuals are so dangerous is that their disguise makes it difficult to recognize their true nature. When someone wears a mask of friendship or familial loyalty, their harmful behavior is often justified or overlooked. Their criticism can be dismissed as tough love, their jealousy framed as concern, and their manipulation seen as a form of care. This camouflage allows them to infiltrate your life deeply, creating confusion and self-doubt. You begin to question whether the hurt you feel is valid, or if you are simply overreacting to someone who means well. These disguised demons often operate under the guise of familiarity and intimacy. Because they know your vulnerabilities, your dreams, and your fears, they can wield that knowledge like a weapon. They may exploit your trust to keep you dependent, to control your choices, or to maintain the status quo that serves them. Sometimes their motives are rooted in insecurity or fear. They may be afraid of losing you or of being overshadowed by your success. Other times, their actions stem from selfishness, envy, or unresolved personal issues. Regardless of why they act this way, the impact on you can be profound. One of the most common ways these disguised demons show up is through emotional manipulation. They might use guilt, shame, or obligation to keep you in line with their expectations. A family member may constantly remind you of sacrifices they've made for you, using that as leverage to influence your decisions. A friend might subtly criticize your choices under the pretense of just being honest, making you question your judgment. Over time, these tactics chip away at your confidence and sense of autonomy, leaving you trapped in a cycle of trying to please others at the expense of your own happiness. Another sign of these hidden demons is their tendency to undermine your progress. They may belittle your goals, dismiss your achievements, or spread doubt about your capabilities. When you start to grow or change, they often react with resistance, whether overt or covert. This resistance can take the form of passive-aggressive comments, backhanded compliments, or outright sabotage. Because they are close to you, their words and actions carry more weight. And their negativity can be harder to shake off. This subtle undermining creates internal conflict as you struggle to reconcile their proximity with their harmful impact. Jealousy is a powerful force behind many disguised demons. When someone close to you envies your talents, opportunities, or relationships, they may mask that envy as concern or protectiveness. They might warn you about potential pitfalls or question your motives, but beneath those words lies a desire to keep you from surpassing them or achieving the success they crave. This kind of jealousy is toxic because it wears the face of love, making it difficult to identify and confront you. It often leads to confusion and emotional exhaustion as you try to navigate the mixed messages. What makes these disguised demons especially challenging is the emotional ties that bind you to them. Because they are family or longtime friends, there is a history and a shared narrative that complicates your ability to set boundaries or distance yourself. You may feel obligated to forgive, to explain, or to give second chances. You might fear the loss of connection or the judgment of others if you expose the truth. This complexity creates a tangled web that can be hard to unravel, especially when your own sense of self-worth is affected. Recognizing these demons requires deep self-awareness and courage. It means paying attention to how you feel in their presence, whether you feel drained, anxious, or diminished. It means trusting your instincts, even when logic tries to convince you otherwise. It means understanding that love and loyalty don't require you to sacrifice your peace or your growth. True love uplifts and supports. It doesn't manipulate or control you. The process of seeing through the disguise is often painful, but it is necessary for healing and empowerment. This realization also calls for a redefinition of what family and friendship mean to you. It challenges the assumption that proximity or blood ties guarantee safety or care. Instead, it encourages you to seek relationships based on mutual respect, trust, and genuine support. It invites you to create boundaries that protect your emotional well-being, even if that means stepping back from those who wear the mask of love but act otherwise. This shift is not about severing ties lightly, but about choosing your own health and happiness over unhealthy patterns. Ultimately, the demons who disguise themselves as friends or family are a reminder that love isn't always what it appears to be. They teach you to be discerning about who you allow into your inner world. They push you to value your own voice and your own truth above the expectations and manipulations of others. And they highlight the importance of surrounding yourself with people who show up authentically you, who celebrate your growth, and who walk beside you without masks or agendas. Energy never lies. This simple yet profound truth is something many people overlook in their daily lives. We often dismiss our feelings of exhaustion, discomfort, or unease around certain people or situations as being on our head or as something we should push through. But the reality is that your energy is a powerful signal, a natural compass that guides you toward what nourishes you and away from what harms you. When you feel drained, depleted, or off balance, it is not a coincidence or an imaginary feeling. It is your body and mind telling you something important that you need to pay attention to. Every interaction you have leaves an imprint on your energy. People carry their own vibrations, intentions, and emotional states, and when you engage with them, you absorb some of that energy. Positive, supportive connections recharge you, lift your spirits, and inspire you to be your best self. Negative or toxic connections do the opposite. They sap your vitality, cloud your judgment, and leave you feeling hollow. When you find yourself consistently drained after spending time with someone, it is a clear sign that the energy exchange is unhealthy or unbalanced. The challenge many face is that modern life conditions us to ignore or suppress these energetic signals. We are told to be polite, to just get along, and to maintain appearances even when something feels wrong. We may hesitate to trust our instincts because we don't want to cause conflict or because we fear being misunderstood. But denying how you truly feel is like ignoring a flashing warning light on a car dashboard. It only leads to bigger problems down the road. Your energy is not just a feeling. It is an essential form of wisdom that protects your well-being. Feeling drained is more than just physical tiredness. It can manifest as mental fog, emotional exhaustion, or a pervasive sense of heaviness that lingers long after an interaction ends. This depletion impacts your ability to think clearly, make decisions, and engage with life fully. It can create a cycle where you avoid certain people or situations, but then feel guilty or anxious about doing so. Recognizing that this is your energy speaking up and not a flaw in your character is the first step toward reclaiming your power. Energy can be drained in many subtle ways. Some people might not be overtly hostile or critical, but instead emit a low vibration of negativity, complaint, or chronic stress that wears you down. Others may demand emotional labor without reciprocating, expecting you to support them while offering little in return. There are those who manipulate through guilt or passive aggression, leaving you confused and exhausted. Even environments such as toxic workplaces or draining social settings can sap your energy just as surely as people can. It is important to honor these feelings of being drained and to explore their sources honestly. When you notice a pattern of depletion around certain individuals or circumstances, take it as a cue to set boundaries. This might mean limiting your time with certain people, learning to say no, or creating physical and emotional space to recharge. Protecting your energy is not selfish. It is an act of self-respect and survival. When you prioritize your energetic health, you create room for growth, creativity, and authentic connection. Listening to your energy also helps you cultivate better relationships. When you tune into how you feel around others, you begin to discern who truly supports you and who diminishes you. This awareness allows you to invest more deeply in connections that uplift and inspire you. It also helps you recognize when it's time to walk away from relationships that are toxic or draining you. Your energy acts as a natural filter, guiding you toward people who align with your values and away from those who don't. Moreover, energy is contagious. When you protect and nurture your own energy, You raise your vibration and attract positive experiences. Conversely, when you allow yourself to be drained repeatedly, you lower your defenses and become more vulnerable to negativity. This is why cultivating energy awareness is such a powerful tool for transformation. It empowers you to take control of your inner world, regardless of external circumstances. It's also essential to differentiate between temporary exhaustion and chronic energy drain. Everyone experiences tiredness at times due to physical exertion or emotional stress. But if you find that certain people or situations consistently leave you feeling wiped out, anxious, or depleted beyond what seems reasonable, it's a sign that your energy is being compromised. This calls for a deeper evaluation of those influences and how you manage your boundaries. Trusting your energy means trusting yourself. It means giving value to your intuition and emotional intelligence, which are often dismissed in favor of logic and rationalization. Your energy reflects your deepest truths, even when your mind tries to convince you otherwise. Honoring it leads to greater clarity, better decision-making, and a more authentic life. Ultimately, when you recognize that energy never lies, you open yourself up to a richer experience of connection and self-awareness. You stop second-guessing your feelings and start responding to them with respect and care. This shift changes not only how you relate to others, but also how you relate to yourself, laying the foundation for deeper healing and empowerment. Emotional blackmail is a weapon, a powerful and destructive tool that some people use to control and manipulate others under the guise of care and concern. Unlike honest communication or genuine support, emotional blackmail twists feelings like guilt, fear, and obligation into chains that bind you to someone else's agenda. It replaces authentic love and care with manipulation, leaving you confused, drained, and questioning your own worth. Recognizing emotional blackmail is crucial because it allows you to reclaim your power and protect your emotional well-being from being hijacked by others. At its core, emotional blackmail operates by exploiting your empathy and desire to maintain relationships. The person wielding this weapon knows how much you care and uses that knowledge to push your buttons. They might threaten to withdraw affection, express exaggerated disappointment, or play the victim to make you feel responsible for their pain. These tactics are designed to make you comply with their wishes out of fear of loss or guilt rather than out of true willingness or respect. What looks like care on the surface is, in fact, a form of coercion. The danger of emotional blackmail lies in its subtlety. It rarely comes as blatant demands or threats. Instead, it's wrapped in phrases like, "If you loved me, you would," or "after all I've done for you." These statements are meant to bind you emotionally, implying that failing to meet certain expectations means you are selfish, ungrateful, or uncaring. Over time, this erodes your self-esteem and creates an unhealthy dynamic where your feelings and needs become secondary to maintaining the peace at any cost. One of the most challenging aspects of emotional blackmail is how it blurs the lines between love and manipulation, because it often comes from someone close, a partner, family member, or friend. It's easy to convince yourself that enduring the guilt and pressure is a small price to pay for keeping the relationship intact. But genuine care never forces you to sacrifice your boundaries or sense of self-worth. True love encourages growth, respect, and mutual understanding rather than control and compliance. Emotional blackmail also traps you in a cycle of fear and obligation. You might find yourself constantly walking on eggshells. You're trying to anticipate the other person's reactions to avoid triggering their wrath or sadness. This hypervigilance consumes your energy and diminishes your authenticity. You start to doubt your own feelings and judgments because the manipulator's narrative dominates the relationship. The fear of causing harm or rejection makes it difficult to assert your needs or say no. It's important to understand that emotional blackmail is not your fault. Being manipulated in this way doesn't mean you're weak or gullible. It means you're human and capable of compassion. The responsibility for this behavior lies with the person using guilt and manipulation as tools, not with you for feeling pressured or conflicted. Recognizing this distinction is vital for breaking free from the toxic dynamic. Awareness is the first step toward protection. When you begin to see the patterns of emotional blackmail, the guilt trips you, the veiled threats, the shifting blame, you can start to set clearer boundaries. This might mean saying no without feeling compelled to justify yourself. Seeking support from trusted friends or professionals, or creating distance from the manipulative person. Protecting yourself emotionally is not an act of cruelty, but an act of self-respect. Healing from emotional blackmail also involves rebuilding your self-trust. As you learn to listen to your own needs and feelings without shame or guilt, you reclaim your voice and your power. You develop the strength to stand firm against manipulation and to choose relationships that honor your well-being. This journey requires courage and patience, but it leads to healthier connections and a more authentic life. Ultimately, emotional blackmail is a weapon that distorts the meaning of care and love. Being aware of how guilt and manipulation replace genuine concern allows you to navigate relationships with greater clarity and confidence. It empowers you to protect your emotional space and to demand respect, honesty, and kindness from those you allow into your life. People who enable your excuses are demons in disguise. This is a truth that often goes unnoticed because it can feel comforting in the moment to have someone validate our reasons for not moving forward. Excuses can be seductive. They offer a shield from discomfort, fear, and the hard work required to grow and change. When someone close to you consistently supports or accepts these excuses, they may be doing more harm than good. True allies do not let you hide behind excuses. Instead, they hold you accountable with love, respect, and a commitment to your highest potential. Excuses come in many forms: fear of failure, lack of confidence, past mistakes, or external circumstances that seem to block your path. It's natural to hesitate or doubt yourself when facing challenges. But the problem arises when excuses become a pattern rather than an exception. Those who enable your excuses often do so because they either fear conflict, prefer the status quo, or are uncomfortable with the changes that your growth might bring. They want to keep you safe in familiar territory, even if that safety is an illusion that stunts your progress. These enablers might tell you things like, it's okay, you're doing your best, or maybe now isn't the right time, reinforcing a narrative that keeps you from taking responsibility. At first, this can feel like support, someone showing empathy or patience, but in reality, it's a form of enabling that perpetuates stagnation. By accepting your excuses without challenge, they rob you of the opportunity to confront your fears and to push beyond your limits. On the other hand, true allies are the people who see your potential clearly, even when you don't see it yourself. They understand that accountability isn't about judgment or punishment, but about love and commitment to your growth. These are the people who encourage you to face your fears, who ask the tough questions, and who hold you to your word. They celebrate your successes, yes, but they also challenge you when you fall into patterns of avoidance or self-sabotage. Being held accountable can be uncomfortable, but it's a vital ingredient for transformation. When someone refuses to let you off the hook for your excuses, it pushes you to examine your beliefs and actions honestly. It forces you to step up, to take ownership of your life, and to move beyond the narratives that keep you stuck. Accountability partners act as mirrors, reflecting back both your strengths and your blind spots, helping you grow stronger and more self-aware. People who enable excuses often mask their behavior as kindness or understanding, but this kind of false compassion ultimately harms you. It's a softer form of sabotage, one that delays your progress and diminishes your self-confidence. These individuals might mean well, but their unwillingness to challenge you keeps you tethered to fear and limitation. In contrast, true allies hold space for your discomfort and growth simultaneously. They know that true support sometimes means discomfort because growth requires stretching beyond comfort zones. True accountability also builds trust and deepens relationships. When you are honest about your struggles and commitments, and when someone stands firm with you, it creates a powerful bond. It shows that they believe in your ability to change and improve, not just in your current state. This kind of relationship nurtures resilience and inspires courage. It reminds you that you are not alone in your journey and that growth is a shared process. It's also important to recognize when you are seeking enablers rather than true allies. Sometimes holding on to excuses feels safer than facing the unknown. We may gravitate toward people who validate our hesitation because it spares us from the pain of failure or rejection. But this safety is deceptive. It keeps us trapped in cycles of unfulfilled potential and regret. True allies challenge this pattern by refusing to indulge excuses and by encouraging us to be brave, even when it's hard. Being accountable to someone who genuinely wants to see you succeed helps create momentum and discipline. It transforms vague intentions into concrete actions. When excuses are confronted, you're forced to clarify your priorities and take steps that align with your goals. This accountability acts as a catalyst, breaking through procrastination and self-doubt. In the end, people who enable your excuses do not serve your growth. They may feel like friends or supporters in the short term, but their influence limits your potential and stunts your evolution. True allies are rare but invaluable. They challenge you, support you, and believe in your ability to become more than you are today. They remind you that growth requires responsibility and courage. And they walk beside you with unwavering faith in your journey. Self-respect is your ultimate power. It's the line they can't cross. It is the invisible boundary that defines how others are allowed to treat you, how you show up for yourself, and how you move through the world. When you cultivate self-respect, you are no longer at the mercy of external validation, opinions, or acceptance. You stop negotiating your worth with people who only show up when it benefits them. Self-respect is not arrogance or ego. It is the quiet, unwavering recognition that your time, energy, and spirit are not available for discount. When you possess self-respect, you stop entertaining people who talk you're less than what you are. You stop giving access to those who take more than they give. You stop waiting for closure from people who slammed the door and walked away. It becomes less about revenge, proving a point, or being understood, and more about preserving your peace. You no longer chase love, approval, or attention because you understand that anything that requires you to shrink, beg, or betray yourself is not meant for you. The moment you draw the line with self-respect is the moment people begin to show you who they really are. Some will rise to meet your boundaries, adjusting their behavior with maturity and care. Others will push, test, or even punish you for daring to prioritize yourself. That resistance is revealing. It shows you who is invested in your well-being and who is only invested in your compliance. Self-respect doesn't make everyone stay, makes the wrong ones leave. And that is its exact purpose. The line they can't cross is the one that says, I refuse to be disrespected, used, or silenced to make others comfortable. It's easy to lose sight of self-respect in a world that constantly tells you to be agreeable, accommodating, and self-sacrificing. You are taught to prioritize harmony over honesty, relationships over self-worth, and reputation over truth. But the cost of betraying yourself for others is always too high. You end up drained, resentful, and disconnected from who you really are. Self-respect demands that you stop abandoning yourself for temporary peace or shallow connections. It asks you to choose yourself, not because you are better than others, but because you finally realize your worth isn't negotiable. People often confuse kindness with tolerance for disrespect. But real kindness starts with how you treat yourself. When you respect yourself, you no longer tolerate the kind of behavior that causes confusion, pain, or chaos. You no longer respond to emotional games, false apologies, or empty promises. You don't need to yell, prove, or over-explain because your silence becomes a statement. Your absence becomes your boundary. Your peace becomes your protest. The power of self-respect lies in the decisions you make when no one is watching. It's how you talk to yourself when you fail. It's how you hold yourself accountable without shaming your growth. It's how you say no without guilt, walk away without drama, and stand alone without fear. It's not loud, but it's undeniable. It protects you from being pulled into cycles that only weaken your soul. It teaches people how to engage with you, not through demands, manipulation, or emotional leverage, but through mutual respect and authenticity. Self-respect also filters out superficial relationships and unworthy opportunities. You stop settling for jobs that drain you, environments that dull you, or people who confuse possession with love. You stop explaining your standards or justifying your boundaries. You don't have to prove why something is unacceptable. You just know it is, and that's enough. You understand that loving yourself means walking away from anything that asks you to love it more than you love your own dignity. The line they can't cross is not made of anger or pride. It's made of clarity. The clarity that says you know what you deserve. And you're no longer interested in trying to convince others to see it. You don't measure your worth by who stays, who praises you, or who gives you permission to be you. You don't need to compete for attention, beg for understanding, or accept crumbs, hoping they'll one day become a feast. You know that being alone with self-respect is better than being surrounded while being disrespected. Self-respect gives you the courage to walk into rooms without shrinking. It gives you the strength to speak up without trembling. It allows you to let go of people who once meant everything to you when you realize they no longer align with your values. It empowers you to outgrow old versions of yourself, not because you're rejecting who you were, but because you're finally becoming who you're meant to be. The world may not always understand your standards, but that's not your concern. Your job isn't to be palatable or popular. It's to be whole, grounded, and real.